Okay, so in this video, we are going to talk about anabolic priming, your unfair advantage to getting Hollywood jacked with Rockstar energy naturally. And just so you know that I know what I'm talking about, here's my transformation right here. Didn't have the greatest genetics, obviously. This is what I'm looking like these days. My test is over 850 nanograms per deciliter on the total side. Even the free is up past 18. And my LH and FSH is good down here. So you can see I'm not infertile like somebody that, rips gear 24/7. Who this training is for. So if you feel like you've been trying to figure this out for years without any progress, if you feel like you need to starve yourself just to stay lean, if you feel flimsy or like your body doesn't match your persona, if you feel like you need naps just to get through the day, if you hate what you see in the mirror every morning, if you never want to be anyone's second choice ever again, and if you despise the thought of living the rest of your life the way that you are right now, if you want something greater for yourself. And the reality that you unlock with anabolic priming is night and day compared to what I started with, right? So if you want to wake up feeling good every single morning, if you want a younger, hotter girlfriend or wife, or at least the opportunity to do so, if you want to be more likable and persuasive, if you want to have more respect and authority universally, at work, in your relationships, and just in general, if you want to run circles around the people your age, if you want other people to look up to you, right? You want to inspire others. You want to lead by example for your friends and your family. If you want to be a real life superhero for your children, if you want to build discipline that bleeds into every other area of your life, and if you want to be the one who changes your family's medical history forever, this training is for you. And I just want to go over what the state of the union is. So we are exiting what I think of as the middle ages of fitness. People are waking up and the renaissance is beginning now. Like, you can see it. Everybody's making sourdough. Everybody knows about tap water, right? Like, people are eating holistically. Grass-fed ground beef is like at the top of everybody's mind. Like, it's starting to go, and we're on the cusp of what I think is about to be the golden age of health and fitness, and it starts with this. So real quick, I just want to talk about some propaganda and misinformation that's been keeping you stuck. So this is the old way that we need to ditch. Just forget everything that I'm about to show you here. So the idea that sugar is bad for you, this is complete BS. Your thyroid, which controls your metabolism, the main energy source for it is glucose and fructose. Things like fruit juice, even maple syrup, right? That stuff is what supplies your thyroid with energy and helps you burn more energy, so you burn more calories, right? Everybody's on these low sugar diets and it's destroying their metabolisms, but it's also like your energy, your vitality, all sorts of other stuff gets screwed up when you stop eating sugar. So sugar is actually good for you. The next one, you need cardio to get lean. This is complete BS. You don't need any cardio to get lean. Slow and controlled workouts or high reps will tone you, right? High reps for toning, leave it last year. It should be a thing of the past. 10K steps a day is required. No, it's not. You don't have to hit 10K steps a day. That's like 2 or more hours of walking, depending on how tall you are. Not everybody has the opportunity to do so, and not everybody's going to set up a walking treadmill beneath their desk. The idea that you need to work out 5 to 7 days a week, nope, don't need to do that at all. I've worked out 3 days a week for the last 8 years, and I think I'm doing just fine. Low-fat or low-calorie foods are good for you. This is just complete BS. Low-fat foods and low-fat just diets in general, they nuke your testosterone, but also think about it. Fats are really important for keeping you satiated. So on a low-fat diet, you're going to be feeling super hungry and honestly just dreadful 24/7. Everybody's fighting against their hunger to get lean, so what do you think is going to eventually happen? You're going to snap and just say, screw it. Doing keto or carnivore for weight loss, not a good idea. You need carbs in there for testosterone, but also just for energy. If you do, keto or carnivore, you're cutting out an entire macronutrient, and your body is going to have to go through other pathways to create glucose in your body, and it's going to do this with the increase of stress hormones. So like cortisol goes up. That's why people on keto and carnivore lose their hair and shit like that. You don't need to do it. You need to torture yourself with chicken, rice, and veggies to be lean? Hell no. I hate that OG bodybuilding diet. That shit is just, it's just disgusting. Let's leave it at that. protein powders and protein bars are healthy. This is a complete fallacy. Just because it's got protein in it or synthetic protein added into it doesn't mean that it's going to help be healthy for you. Personally, I think anything that improves your hormonal health is healthy. Anything that hurts your hormonal health is unhealthy, because if your hormones are in check, everything else works great. If your hormones are not in check, everything is just breaking down. Greens powders, fish oil, and gummy supplements will save you. Nope, these are all trash in my opinion. You should be drinking a gallon of water a day. That is a bad idea because you put your body into such a flushing state that you flush out all your micronutrients, but also your electrolytes, which are important for your energy. So drinking a gallon of water a day, you'd think it would hydrate you and make you feel wired. The complete opposite happens. Red meat is bad for you. This is just I don't know, if you think that red meat is still bad for you, you must be living under a rock. Those studies that show red meat is bad for you were done with like bologna and hot dogs and all that BS. Dairy is bad for you, and raw dairy is dangerous. So this is just another dumb idea. 100% grass-fed dairy from a holistic source, especially raw, is super easy to digest and really good for your health. The sun is bad for you. I'm out in the sun right now. You need the sun. You need to build up that solar callus, so don't just run out into the sunlight for 6 hours after winter, right? Don't be an idiot. But you need sun to regulate your circadian rhythm, but also just for vitamin D purposes. Vitamin D is very important for your hormonal health, and it's the greatest anti-inflammatory there is. So the new way is anabolic priming, and this is all you really need so that you can look amazing, wake up feeling good every morning, and not have to worry about tracking macros every day. You don't have to train 5 to 7 days a week. You don't have to do a bunch of cardio to stay lean. You don't have to hate your life just to stay in shape. It actually will help you, enjoy your life. So anabolic priming simply comes down to just making high leverage health decisions to evaporate any and all need to use willpower. You want to skyrocket your reproductive hormones. You want to create positive feedback loops in every area, workouts, diet, and your sleep. And then you want to reach that level of unconscious competence with this new lifestyle so that you can just move on with your life. Now the method, it just comes down to boosting your metabolism through boosting your testosterone, your DHT, your dopamine, and your thyroid hormones. Right? So you boost your metabolism, you have more energy, vitality, brain power, mental focus. You can eat a shitload of food without getting fat. You stay effortlessly lean year round without tracking a single calorie or macro. You get freakishly strong and pack on rock hard muscle in the gym. You stop living inside the gym, and just being fatigued all the time with no results. And it's just an easy way to figure this fitness thing out so you can move on to bigger and better things. I often say that thinking about your body fat percentage or how low your energy is like a waste of thoughts. There's more important things to focus on in life. So you want to get this handled so you can move on. Now, let's talk about workouts. I follow something I call the pressure washer method. So a lot of people really spread themselves too thin. Working out 5, 6, 7 days a week, you only have a finite amount of energy throughout the week, right? So instead of you spreading it out, right? I use this analogy of like you're trying to wash stuff off your car. You're not going to use the shower setting on your garden hose. You're not going to use the fan, the worst one. You're going to use the jet, or in this case, you're going to use the pressure washer. Just be really specific where you're putting that energy and have like rest periods in between. So you're just going to be like, psh, psh, psh. 3 workouts a week max. That's all I've done for the last 8 years, just Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if you do that, you get weekends off, which is nice, but you really get to focus on strength because you're able to recover. So you build strength to gamify the training too, and you just get addicted to the high of hitting these personal records every week. So you're able to stay consistent long term for that reason because you're looking forward to going to the gym. It's not like you're going to do a brutal cardio session every time. It allows your central nervous system to recover so that you're not fatigued all the time. And usually you feel like you're not doing enough, but the results are rapid and inevitable. So what more could you want, right? Now, I also follow what I call the perfect diet for human health. And it seems like a bold statement, but it's super true. You want to move away from just focusing on calories and macros to focusing more on micronutrients. You don't need, you have to follow the laws of macronutrients to some extent, but when you can sway your mindset more towards macros, you play by different rules. So the macros essentially will increase the naturally occurring steroid hormones in your body and help you build more muscle and stay lean year round, right? I've been lean for damn near a decade. And especially over the last 3 years, I've been like single digit body fat, damn near, maybe at 10% if I'm topping it out. But it's a lot to do with my diet, which is micronutrient focused. I don't track any calories or macros anymore. My clients, they don't track calories or macros anymore. And really anything that creates inflammation or jeopardizes your micronutrient balance is unhealthy. So stop obsessing over the calories, the sugar, and the fiber content. You don't need to focus on that. Ingredients are the most important place to look on food labels too. So don't just look at the macros. Look at the ingredients and the micros. So one other thing I want to just caution you about is the low metabolism starter pack. So you definitely want to stay away from low or zero sugar foods that often have artificial sweeteners, which will disrupt your hormonal function. A common one on low sugar foods is maltodextrin. Polyunsaturated fats, which are commonly found in seed oils, vegetable oils, palm oils, nut oils, and just nuts in general, they create something called free radicals in your body, which lead to oxidative stress and damage, but also like inflammation. Nut milks and oat milk, I don't think I have to say that. Protein powders, protein bars, protein shakes. These things, they're just not going to help you in terms of your metabolism, so to speak. Like maybe you can find good holistic sources of all these things, but it's better if you just cut it out and you focus on more holistic foods. Tap water and honestly any water in a plastic bottle is going to give you microplastics and all sorts of other stuff. They've found jet fuel in tap water before. There's also birth control in there. You don't want to have tap water anymore. And honestly, just anything processed with refined sugar, food dyes, or a laundry list of ingredients. Like usually you look at a package on a food item. If there's a ton of ingredients, probably not something you should put in your body. And if it wasn't around 500 years ago, you probably shouldn't eat it anyway. The most anabolic foods are as follows. So 100% grass-fed beef is going to be king in terms of micronutrient content. So I have grass-fed ground beef or a nice grass-fed steak, a ribeye, whatever cut of meat you want. So long as it's 100% grass-fed red meat, you're Gucci. Pasture-raised eggs are also very micronutrient dense with the yolk. Don't be eating egg whites and stuff. Egg whites are also just disgusting. So again, keep away from that OG bodybuilder diet. The chicken, rice, veggies, stuff like egg whites. That's all horrible. And it's just going to hurt your metabolism. Raw, 100% grass-fed A2 dairy, whole milk, Greek yogurt, kefir, butter, even raw ice cream is really good for you too. Fruit and fruit juice. I like pomegranate juice daily. Orange juice is really good. Apples, bananas, oranges. Raisins are a great source of boron. Red grapes are also really good too. You want bee products like honey, bee pollen, propolis, and even royal jelly. That's probably the greatest supplement on the planet. Tubers like sweet potatoes, raw carrots, and onions can be really good. Maple syrup, so long as it's 100% pure and organic. Organic cane sugar, sea salt, Ceylon cinnamon, grains of paradise pepper can also be really good at lowering your blood pressure, lowering stress and anxiety, but also boosting your testosterone. And in terms of fats or like oils that you want to cook with, you want to stay away from vegetable oils and just stick to like coconut oil, ghee, argan oil, beef tallow, olive oil. Personally, I use butter usually. Now, a full day of eating, this is what it looks like for me anyway. I do intermittent fasting so that I can push all my food towards the later part of the day. I don't go to sleep on an empty stomach. Black coffee with shilajit to boost my test. Stay locked in on work during the day. I have something called the gut bucket, which is just non-fat Greek yogurt. The whole tub of yogurt that I have has like 80 grams of protein, but there's only 450 calories. I throw some cinnamon, some maple syrup, and fruit in there. I also have the Playboy potion, which is pomegranate juice, apple cider vinegar, creatine, and pine pollen. Cold pressed organic orange juice is really good for your thyroid. Shout out to Ray Pete. Fruit, like apples, bananas, oranges, red grapes, and raisins, as I said before. Sweet milk is one of my favorites. It's just milk and maple syrup. It's delicious and really good for you. Caveman cereal. This is what I have pretty much every night if I'm not having a steak or eggs. 100% grass-fed ground beef, raw cheese, sea salt, and some pepper. Pasture-raised eggs before bed because they're a great source of dietary cholesterol. If you have cholesterol before bed, that is the precursor to testosterone, so you'll produce more T when you're asleep. Raw carrots can be a great way to reduce your estrogen so you don't have, man boobs and just honestly stress and anxiety all the time. Raw ice cream is delicious. Collagenous foods like bone broth or beef gelatin powder can be a great source of glycine, which will improve your sleep and your gut, but also your hair, skin, and your nails. Stick to mineral water, stuff like Mountain Valley spring water. I've heard Icelandic glacial water is really good too. Gerolsteiner is good as well. And I also have birch tree water, which is a great source of magnesium. Let's go into sleep. So how to sleep like a baby tonight. These are things you could do today and get a great night of sleep tonight. So a consistent sleep schedule is going to be most important. Get sunlight in your eyes as soon as you wake up to regulate your circadian rhythm so you're sleepy by nighttime. Keep your caffeine below 500 milligrams daily and stop use as early in the day as possible. Stop drinking liquids 2 to 3 hours before bed if you can so you're not waking up to go to the bathroom. Have carbs closer to bedtime to activate that parasympathetic nervous system so you get that food coma feeling just in time for bed. Supplement with 400 or 500 milligrams of magnesium glycinate 1 hour before bed. You'll knock out like a light, and it'll also improve your digestion. Take a hot shower 1 hour before bed to reduce your internal body temperature. If you want to fall asleep, you have to reduce your internal body temperature. So that's why like eating stuff right on top of bedtime usually isn't great because it requires a lot of heat to digest. Sleep naked in a cold, pitch black room. Reduce blue light exposure near bedtime and turn off all electronics before bed. Keep your phone off or on airplane mode on the opposite side of the room. So I was a guy back in the day that would have my phone plugged into the wall, off airplane mode, underneath my pillow, just frying my brain all night. A lot of people do the same thing. It's bad for you. You don't have to go so far as to turn off your Wi-Fi at night, but if you want to do that, you can. Keep your head of your bed away from any power outlets too, just because it's going to be the same thing. The EMFs are going to screw you up. White noise machine or earplugs if you need, and a weighted blanket to keep you still overnight. This isn't something I use, but it can be beneficial. And just putting it all together, you want to get addicted to your workout so you can stay rock solid, consistent over time. Stuff your face every day with delicious food that energizes you, but also boosts your metabolism. And sleep like a baby so the time you're awake is 10 times better. Now, the next part is most important, and it's just practicality. If you can't find a schedule and a process and a structure for you that's practical, it's just not going to work. Like if you can't see yourself doing a workout routine or a diet outside of the next 3 to 6 months, what are you doing? It's a ticking time bomb, or a recipe for disaster. You're just going to snap one day and fall out of consistency and wonder why you even started. So think about what you want to be doing 10 years from now and just start doing that today, because you're going to have to build a consistency eventually. Trial and error to gain reference experience for what works and what doesn't. Whatever sticks, stick with it. Whatever doesn't, move on to something else. And then over time, you'll figure out what works for you. So I can give you this framework, which I think is going to get guys about 80 to 90% of the way there. But the other 10% is going to be up to you, because you have a different lifestyle and different habits, responsibilities, and, taste buds, preferences than me and the next guy. So you got to figure out what works best for you. Don't just blindly follow what somebody else is trying to tell you to do. Even this video right here, be very, questioning about the stuff that's in here. But think about how to finagle it accordingly to fit your lifestyle like a glove. That's the key. Now, making success inevitable is eating like an animal, the diet that I just explained earlier, like 90% of the time. So that other 10% of the time when you're on a date, at a party, a social event with your family, maybe you're on vacation or just traveling, whatever it is, you can basically eat or do whatever you want without any guilt or shame, because your physique's not going to flinch. Maybe you feel like crap in the short term, right? When you start eating like this, you're not even going to want to eat that bad food. But it's a pretty night and day difference when you do go bad to the bad diet, the diet that most people follow, even like chicken, rice, and veggies. You just notice the energy decrease. But, you should be able to do whatever you want when it counts. I often say, eat the birthday cake at the birthday party. Don't be the guy that's like, I don't want to eat it because it's seed oils, right? There needs to be some sort of a balance. That rigidity is just going to create problems down the road. So the key is you just want to stack the deck in your favor to give yourself a bigger margin for error over time. Now, front load the work. You'll enjoy the back half. Don't be too rigid. And just have an even balance between preference, health, and meeting your calorie and macro requirements that support your physique goals. And then over time, you just consistently doing that for so long, you just got it. You don't need to think about, MyFitnessPal or your whatever calorie tracking app that you're using. You don't need to build a big puzzle or do a big math equation every day just to stay lean. You're just, it's second nature. You've got that sixth sense for what your body needs in a day. And for what it's worth, like, none of this came easy for me. I used to be like 139 pounds. And now I'm up at like 180, somewhere in 175, 185, depending on the time of the year that it is. But yeah, I went through all this stuff that I spoke about earlier, tracking calories and macros, eating stuff like oats, chicken, rice, and veggie diet, eating all the low calorie foods that were destroying my test. I honestly did get in shape for a while, just tracking calories and macros and doing basic training, right? But it wasn't sustainable because I was making decisions that were not, they were not high quality health decisions, and it bit me in the long term. Just poor diet and lifestyle decisions caught up with me eventually. My metabolism started to drop, my energy started to drop, my body fat percentage went up, right? Like, I had brain fog, I was stressed and anxious, I had a bad outlook on life, all because I wasn't treating myself like somebody I was responsible for. So once I started doing anabolic priming and started priming my hormones, right? Like, your body wants to produce high testosterone. You just have to get out of its way. And just so you know, like, I have a program where I help people do exactly this. These are some of my testimonials, right? So we got Nico over here, lost 30 pounds. We got Scott here, got super shredded. Got Andrew over here, got shredded. Big back shot from my man over here. Truman, his test at 1230. So I don't know if you guys know, the reference range, the normal range is from like 200 to 900. Truman's like 300 points above that. So this is what happens when you do what you need to do in order to increase the naturally occurring steroid hormones in your body. Then fat loss is just inevitable. You get super lean, you get muscular as hell, right? It happens at the same time too, right? You start boosting muscle growth and fat loss simultaneously, but also your energy, your vitality goes through the roof. You have a better outlook on life. You become a lucky person because you have a better outlook on life too. Opportunities just start falling into your lap. Like, everything is gravy. And if you're still watching this, I think it's pretty easy to tell, like, you probably just want something more. It's because you're ready to start a new chapter, step into a new reality. What you're doing hasn't been working, and like, you're just looking for something different. You can only hold on for so long doing stuff that you hate. And that's kind of the key of what anabolic priming is. It's just about setting yourself up for success, making it easy to get addicted to the process, so that this isn't like eating away at you 24/7. So if this is something that you want to learn more about, if you want to work one-on-one with me, there's going to be a link in the description to where you can potentially book a call. You'll apply with the little application down there. If it makes sense, we'll hop on a call and we'll talk about like where you're at right now and where you're trying to get to, what struggles that you have, and what's going to be the best way to bridge that gap between now and then. But yeah, guys, hopefully this has been insightful. Please leave a comment down below. And yeah, hopefully you can take something from this training and apply it. And if you apply all this stuff, you're just gonna, like, it's gonna be night and day. I wholeheartedly believe that. I experienced it myself. My clients are experiencing it day to day. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.